Okay, fine. Then we are going to start with the scope. So we have learned yet what is function scope, but still I'm going to show you like visually how actually it works. Okay, we'll comment this one. And now we'll take some other example here. So let's say here we have var, okay, val or num, anything we can take. Num is equal to 7. I'm going to declare a function over here. Function magic 1. Okay, and here again I'm going to write something like this: var num is equal to 10. Okay, console dot log num. Fine, and here I'm going to write magic 1 and then call it. So what will be the output of this code? If you see here, what will be the output? Anyone? Any idea?
Sir, 10
Yeah, 10. Okay.
and console log num, it is a global scope, so it will take num 7.
So tell
So
me,
it's
like
7.
in sequence.
Yeah,
So where actually the control will go first? Line by line, tell me. From the
sir,
first
magic 1, it will go start.
here.
Yeah.
Why not this one? This is also a function call, no method call only.
Method calling. Yes, sir. It, yes, sir. But yeah, then it will 7. Then next it will go magic 1. Magic 1, it will call the function.
Okay.
In that it will take 10, sir. It
Okay.
will, after then console log num, it will come.
So what will be the value then?
Then num value, it is a global only, it will take.
So the final output
7,
will be how
7,
many?
10,
7, 10,
7,
and 7.
7. Yeah.
Right. It will be 7, 10, and 7. You are right. But how actually it is executing? So just I'm going to explain you this one first. Okay. We'll copy this and we'll open this one. This program. Now what I'm going to do is simply, okay, we'll check this. Okay, so here we have this program. So what is going to happen in the creation phase? First, it will,
Declare all variables.
yeah, declaration will happen in creation phase, isn't it? So tell me the first declaration here. So which scope this one right now when you will
Global.
run your
Global, sir.
global scope? So simply I'm going to write here GS, global scope. So where it will find the first declaration?
Var num.
Var num. So it will simply declare var num, isn't it? Where is the second declaration?
Magic.
And where it is, in which scope right now?
It is a function. It is in
Global scope only.
global. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Global
Function
scope.
magic one is in global scope.
Yeah. So inside this one means magic one is where? In global scope. So for each and every function, whenever you are going to declare, for that we will have a local scope for that particular function, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is going to create that scope. So this scope which you are going to create here, see, in creation phase, CP I'm writing here, okay? Creation phase. In creation phase, so that is known as actually lexical scope. So this scope is lexical scope. So lexical scope is nothing but whatever code you are writing, as per that order only, a scope manager is going to organize that scope. That scope is known as lexical scope. And when it is going to be created? While compilation. That is known as creation phase. Okay, do remember. Okay, so now inside this one, is there any declaration inside magic one?
Yeah. Var num.
Var num. Again, we have var num. So this is kind of boundary. Okay, and it is stating that this is also var num here, and this is also var num. But what is the difference? This num variable is inside magic one function, and this num variable is inside what? In global scope. So the scopes are different, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we are done with the declaration. It will go for the execution phase. Okay, execution phase. So in execution phase here, you see, again, when you will run your program at the time, automatically where you will be? Inside
Global scope.
always global scope. Okay, now it is going to check, is there any assignment or any function declaration where I need to invoke this one? So here we have first assignment called what?
7.
7. So it will check it is declared or not. So yeah, num is declared, and here it is going to assign simply 7. Okay, so num is now updated with what value? 7. Now where it will go next? It will go for this line, isn't it? Console.log. So it is going to execute that line, but before that, console.log means simply print on that console. So it is going to print, but what value it will print? Value of num. And where right now you are? Still you are
Global
in
scope.
global scope. So it is going to check in global scope, is there num variable? Is
Yeah.
there? It will say yeah, num is there. And what is value inside that?
7.
So it will print simply 7.
7.
Okay, it will print 7. Where it will go next? It will come here. It
1.
will check magic 1. Okay, so see, magic 1 is declared or not? Yes, it is declared in global scope. Here you can see. And what type of identifier it is? It is a
Function.
function. So it will say, yeah, it is a function. So invoke this one. So once if it is going to invoke what? Magic 1 function. Magic 1 function. Okay. So it will create what? Once it will invoke, it will create a new execution context, isn't it? And here it will come now. What assignment here we have? This value 10 inside which variable? Num, which is inside this scope magic one. So it is going to update that one first. So num is equal to what?
10.
10. And where it is? Inside the magic one scope. Okay. Now it is going to print that num. So which num it will print? Always whenever you are going to reference a variable, it will check first where? Its own scope, its own local scope. If it is not available, then only it will go outside that scope and it will check. That is known as what? Scope chain that we have seen yesterday, isn't it? So now it is going to print what? Because of
10.
this console log, it will print
10.
10. And previously it has printed what? 7.
7.
So 7 and 10. And now there is nothing in this function. So where it will come again? For the next execution here, and this will be deleted from where? The scope. And from call stack, I have not drawn that one, that call stack. From that call stack also this will be removed, or you can say popped out. So here you have again console.log, and where you are back again in which scope?
Global scope.
Global scope. So it will try to print num, and you can see that num is equal to 10 is already deleted, and you won't be able to access outside that scope. So where you are right now, as I said, you need to check there only. So here it will try to print the value of num. Num is available here, you can see, isn't it? And what is the value of num? 7.
7.
So simply it is going to print this one. Is that fine? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the same code, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in the scope visualizer, like how actually it is going to look like. Okay. I will just paste that code here. Copy. Here I'm going to paste that one. Here we have this code. I'm going to click on this scope visualizer. See here. So are you able to see here? The global scope is in, you can say light pink color, and this one is a bit dark color. And all these things like this line, and this one, everything is declared where? In global scope. And for this function, if you can observe here, the color is a bit different. So for this function scope, color is different. So it is creating a different scope. Let's say if again you are going to create this one here inside this, I'm going to create a new function, okay, called magic2. Okay, so see, for this function magic2, a scope color is different. So it is already, you can see, denoting that here we have this color and that is a different scope. This is different scope. This is different scope. So this is the, by default, you know, the outer one is always global scope. Inside that, this scope is for which function it is? Magic 1. And here this scope is for magic 2. Let's say if you have any parameter, let's say data. So data color and this color is same. So it means this data also belongs to this magic 2 scope only. Again, the same variable name, if you are going to keep here also in this function also, then simply see, it is going to show you that this data and this data is not same. This data belongs to this scope. Okay. And here, if I'm using num, okay, num, So the background color of this num and this num I'm using here is same. It means it is going to access this num only. Let's say here you have num1. So see the color of this num, from where it is going to access? From global scope. So the global scope color, you can see this one and this one is same. It means it is showing that this is not available in this scope. So from where it is getting? From its parent. So the color you are able to see. Okay. Another thing is here, just I'm going to paste that same code here. Let me copy again from here. We'll paste this one here. So we have this code here. Okay. And I'm going to show you this one, how actually it is going to execute line by line. A step here we have run step. So step by step run, if you will click on this run, automatically it is going to show you the execution, and you can here see change the run speed, slow, fast, or faster, like medium and fast kind of thing. So what I'm going to show you here step by step. So once if I'll click here on a step first time, what it is creating, see, tell me.
Global execution context.
Context. And what is the phase right now?
Creation.
Creation phase. So it means once if you will start running your code, automatically what execution context will be created? Global execution context. And we are right now in creation phase. Okay. So creation phase, here you see window object is there by default. This is also pointing to window that I have already shown you. So window is nothing but global object. Okay. And inside global execution context, as per our program, how many declarations are there? First one is num and another one is magic one. So you can see here num is there, which is, you can see right now initialized with undefined value, and magic one already we know that is a type of what? Function.
Function.
So here they have added one label called magic one, and inside they have stored what? Function. In creation phase, I'm going for the next step. What is the phase right now here?
Execution.
Before that, what it was?
Creation.
Creation. Now I'm going for the next step, and see here right now, what is num? It is undefined. It is going to update it now. It will check the expression and it will update here. Okay. Now updated value of num is what?
7.
7. Okay. And now where it will go next?
7. And console log. Console log. Num.
The next executable expression it is going to find. So here it is going to check this one, console.log step, and observe on this tool here. Now observe step log, what it is going to execute? This one. And what is the num value right now?
7.
7. So it will check here. We are right now where? In global scope. So it is going to check that one and it will print simply. We have now this value 7. Now we are done with this one. So it will go for the last semicolon terminator. Now observe here. So see, now it is checking that we are done with this function. Now again, control will go back to the next one. Where we are right now in magic one. So first it will check whether magic one is defined or not. It is checking here. Now see, first it is checking magic one and then it is going to invoke that one. And once if it will invoke, it will create a new execution context. Okay, so that will be the execution context for which function? Magic one function. So see here, once it is creating that, which phase right now we are in? for this one? In creation phase. In creation phase, arguments is there. One additional label you are able to see here, because we have here this function, and right now how many arguments are there? Means parameter, sorry,
0.
0. So that's why length is here 0. We have this also, which is right now pointing to window that we will see in objects. Don't worry about that, but do remember these things. So here we have local scope for what? Magic 1, and it has created, once we have invoked this function, no, it has created the magic 1 execution context. So you can see the global scope color is different, and for this one magic 1 execution context is different. Now see the next step, execution phase. Here we have creation phase is done, in that they have declared, got just one declaration, no, so num is undefined right now. Now it is going to assign, because right now we have now execution phase. Okay, see, num got updated. It will go for the next one, console.log num. So it will check in this scope only, because right now we are inside magic 1. So it will check here itself. If it is not there, then only it will go outside. So here we have this one, console.log, and it is going to print the num. Okay, and here the current operation is identify. It is showing here identifier. It will call. So here see call expression. It is updating here the operation also. And now we are able to see that it has printed value 10. Now we are done with this function. Observe here now. It will go, and current operation is expression statement is done. Call expression. Once it is done with this one, that execution context has been removed from this call stack. Actually it is. Okay. Now next step, it will go for the, see, one by one it is identifying, parsing, and then it is executing. Here it is updating now. So this is one operator. It is checking whether that function is defined in browser or not. So console.log num, it is going to check. Num is an identifier. See here, is it declared? Yeah, num is declared and value is 7. So it is going for the next expression, and it will call. You are able to see here that value is 7. So now you, I think, clearly understood like how actually a scope will work. For function, we have different scope. Whenever you are going to create a function, it means there will be a different scope for that function. And by default, the first scope will be the global scope. So global scope, you are clear with that. Function scope, you are clear with that. We left with one, that is block scope, that we will see. But before that, I'm going to show you one thing here in JavaScript. Okay. Same code. I'm going to declare a variable called num2 is equal to 30. We'll paste it here. Num2. Here also num2. Here also num2. Anyone can tell me what will be the output?
Mm, 30.
30
means for console
means
log
first count.
num2.
First count how many consoles are there? Tell me.
4 consoles.
4 or
4,
6
6. Okay, 6
1,
are
2,
6. Inside
total?
6 are
2,
there.
outside 4.
4. So execution will start from where first?
Console log num.
Here,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Then it will come here, then
Num2.
here.
Magic 1.
Okay, then it will call this function, and inside that it will check line by line, and after this here, then here, isn't it? So
Yeah.
in that sequence, you tell me what will be the output.
First
What do you think?
7.
7. Okay, fine.
Next num2, that it is inside, no? Okay. Num2. Num2, then it will go 30, sir. 7, 30.
30. How it will find that?
Sir, because it
We
will
have,
search in global. Uh,
yeah, it will
it's
search
not
in global.
available.
It's
It is
not
not
able.
available.
Yeah,
Okay, it not go inside. Okay.
yeah. So inside things you cannot access.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah. So if you are looking for something and that is not available, we will get error, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Error.
So what type of error we will get?
Sequence.
Syntax error?
Syntax error. Yes, sir.
No, I'm not doing any syntactic mistake here. I'm trying to access something which is not available. Means we will get reference error. We'll save this one. First it will print 7. And then what type of error we are getting? Reference error. Num2 is not defined in this scope. So now are you able to understand like why it is giving me that reference error? Because in this scope where we are right now, in global scope. So in this scope, num2 is not defined. Now tell me, I'm going to comment this one. Then what will be the output?
It will go magic 1.
No, from like again, we do not have this one in our program no right now because I
Yeah.
have commented. So what
7.
will be the output now?
7.
Yeah.
Then magic 1 it will go. Then magic 1.
Huh?
It is 10.
Here it is 10. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Next it is 7 again.
Here.
No, sir. It will go. Okay. Inside another thing is 30, sir.
Yeah.
But yes, sir. 30.
Yeah.
But
Okay. 30.
next it will come to console log num. It is global scope 7. It will take num value.
Mm.
Then
Okay.
num2 it is error. It will give, sir.
Half correct. Anyone
Yeah.
else? You have not observed one thing inside magic one function that I have not declared this one num2. Directly I have assigned a value in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not declared. It is.
Directly I'm doing assignment. Anyone can tell me the output now in sequence? Just try it once. Think about in that way only, the creation phase and execution phase. First do declaration, then go for the execution like call, function call thing. Then you will be able to answer. Anyone? See here what is going to.
So
Yeah.
it will print 7, then 10, and then it will give the error of means it is not declared na num2 there.
Yeah. So if it will give error, means it should stop your program.
Yeah.
Okay. So first it will print 7. Then it will call magic function. So control will come inside the magic function.
Yeah.
And here we have declared a variable called num.
And then
And
it
then
is
I'm assigning value in it. Okay. When I'm trying to print this one num, so it will check here first in this scope and num is there. So what value it will print? Num value will be 10. Then it will come here. At that time, it is checking directly num2 is declared or not. While
No.
assignment, it is not declared, then how you can assign it? So here it should give me
Error.
error. Okay. But the output will be, 7, 10, 30, then 7, and then 30. See, 7, 10, 30, 7, 30. What is happening actually here? You know what is happening here? I'm just going to copy this code here. Okay, let me do one thing. 1 second, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is 1 second, 1 second. We'll paste this code here. Okay, and now I will show you what is happening here. So here we'll go in that way only. Okay, the same. So first it is going to create what? Tell me.
Global execution.
Global scope.
Global execution context, that is different thing. First here we have like in the creation phase, we will see. Simply I'm going to write here. We have here, first one is creation phase. And this one is execution phase. Okay. So first it will create a global scope. And this scope will be based on your program, whatever order is there as per that only. So that is known as lexical scope. So first it is going to create a lexical global scope, isn't it? So here we have, that is global scope it will create. So in global scope, during creation phase, what we have to check? Tell me. Just declaration that we know already. Okay. So tell me the first declaration, what it will find.
Varnam.
Yeah, it will find where and num. Fine.
Yeah.
What is the second declaration in global scope?
Magic.
Yeah. So it will find here, that is magic. Okay. Magic or magic one?
One.
Magic one as a function. Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever it will, so this is the local scope for which function? Local scope for magic one. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here we have this one. First one is what? First declaration, it will find what? Where num. Okay. Where num is done. First declaration. What is the second one then? Is there anything inside this? Tell me. Any declaration?
num2.
Num2 is not a declaration, that is assignment. I'm not declaring it, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I'm not declaring this one. So this, you can see this is assignment. An assignment will happen in which phase?
Execution phase.
Execution phase. So we do not have to take care of this one right now. So we are done with the declaration. There's no other declaration here. We'll go for the execution phase next and see what is going to happen here. First, it will create what? Global execution context. Okay. So inside global execution context, here we have global scope, and inside global scope, what it will do first? It is going to assign this one, no? It will check whether the declaration is there or not, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So it is going to assign simply that one. I'm not going to tell each and everything again and again, because we are done with these things. Now you also know what we have to do. It will check num is declared or not. It will say, yeah, it is declared. Simply it is going to assign that value in it. So we are done with this. Where it will go next? Here in this line, it is going to print num. So where we are right now in global scope, okay, so here I have you can see drawn a call stack, and it will show us just like where we are right now. So we are inside global execution context by default. So it will go for the console.log, and what value we have to print right now? This is num. So num is available in global scope. It will print 7. It will go next here inside magic. Magic is, see, magic is declared or not in global scope? Yeah, magic is declared. So it is going to call. So once if it is going to call, it will invoke here inside call stack as magic 1. Okay. And the control will come here. So now it is going to create a new execution context for which function?
Magic.
Magic 1. Okay. So here it is going to create execution context. So inside magic 1, first what it is going to do? It is going to assign this value in what? Num. See carefully here. This is very logical actually. So num, it is going to assign here num value as 10, because here we have assignment. Okay. And now next thing is what? Print that value num. So it is going to print, and where it will check first? In this current scope. So num is there or not? So num is
Sir.
there, it will print simply 10. Okay. Now where it will come? It will come here. And now again, you know, execution phase, JavaScript engine is going to ask, hey, I need to assign value 30 in what? Num2. And where we are right now? Inside magic. Then a scope manager will say, hey, while declaration, you have not asked me to declare any variable like this. So that's why it is not declared. So it will say, okay, fine. But check outside this scope, no? The scope manager will say, okay, I'm going to check here outside. And where we are right now? Where we are right now? In global scope. When it will come outside the magic function, where you are right now? In global scope. Here also it is going to check. Check whether num2 is declared or not. Check here. Num2 is there?
No.
No.
No. So at that time, a scope manager will say, hey, while declaration, you have not declared either in the magic one function and nor in global scope. Okay, don't worry. Now in global scope, at the time of execution, see, it is going to declare what? That variable. Okay, at runtime, where it will check in that particular scope, it is not there, it will go one level up. Let's suppose here we have magic one. Inside that magic one function, there might be like another function also, so it will come one by one up level. And if it will not find, where it will reach finally? In global scope. And then a scope manager is going to declare at that time automatically that variable. Where? Tell me.
Global.
In
Global
global
scope.
scope. And what is the variable name right now?
Num2.
Where num2. So now it is declared. So a scope
Yes.
manager will inform to the JavaScript execution engine, hey, now I have declared it in global scope. So right now it is declared. So by default value will be what? Undefined. Again, control will go back to that one. Then it will say, now you have declared, then assign it what? 30. Where we are right now? Inside magic one. And there we are saying, assign this one. So it will say, hey, I can assign, but this num2 is not here. I need to check outside. It will say, okay, go and check. So here it will check and num2 is declared or not. Outside that function where we have declared just now num2 in global scope. So in global scope only, it is going to assign that value as 20. Okay, at runtime this one dynamically got declared. And if you are going to assign something, then it will check. So in magic one function, inside that scope that is not declared, then how you can assign here? It will go outside and it will check there that whether it is declared or not. So it will come out and here it will find, hey, at runtime you have declared this one, so here only assign that. So it will assign that value, not 20, actually 30, no, 30. So where you have assigned this one? In which scope?
In
Global
global scope.
In global scope. So now it is available in global scope or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, once assignment is done, it will come here and it will try to print what? num2. Okay. So it will check where you are right now, in which scope? This
Local.
console dot in local scope of what? Magic one function.
Magic one.
So it will say, hey, num2 is not declared. I'm not able to find here in this scope. It will say, then go one level up. So it will come here and it will find or not. In
Global.
global scope, it will find or not.
Yes, finder.
It will say, yeah, it is available. And what is the value of that? num2 30. Okay. Then it will print 30. We are done with this function. Okay.
So means when the num2 is not declared, it is automatically declared in global if we just
Yeah.
assign it in local.
Where? No, I'm not assigning it in local. No.
Means num2 is equal to 30, you assign in local. Right?
Assigned in local. Yeah. So at the time it is checking. If it is not declared, where it will declare? In global.
Means it automatically declare itself.
Yeah, automatically it will declare. But where it will declare? If it is not finding, it will check one by one, one by one, one by one, and where it will reach at the end? In global scope. because that is the last scope. Before means outside that scope you cannot go, isn't it? So there itself it will say, okay, then I'm going to declare a variable for you with this name. Okay, and then it will declare, and because you have declared at the runtime, you are not declared literally here. Who is going to declare? Scope manager. Okay, at runtime. So now it is available outside. So you are able to assign this value. It will check here. If it is not available, it will go and check. It will print. Now in global scope, we have that value, isn't it? Now we are done with this magic function. It will pop out from the call stack where you are right now. In again, back to the global execution context, means global scope. So after magic one function, it is going to print what? It is going to print what? Console.log num. So check in global scope, num is there or not? Num is there.
Yeah.
So it will print 7. And after execution, because when you have called this function at that time, because of this assignment, automatically a scope manager, or you can say the JavaScript execution engine, asked to declare forcefully where in global scope. So num2 is also there in global scope right now, 30. So it will print here the next one, num2 as what?
30.
30. So that's why you are getting 7, 10, 37, 10 as an output. Is that clear? So
So if you declare a num4 is equal to 60, means outside the now not in function magic one, outside the function.
one second. Now tell me here. Yeah.
Yeah, now just declare num4.
Where?
Okay,
Tell me the line number. I will
line
declare.
number 143.
In 143. 143. Here.
Yeah, just declare num3 is equal to 40.
Num3 is equal to 40.
And then just then just console.log is equal to num.
Yeah, it is possible. It will print you 40. The same thing is happening. It will check where we are right now in global scope. So while declaration, you are not declaring, but at the time of what? Execution phase, it will again check, hey, check inside global scope. Have you declared this one? A scope manager will say, no, you have not asked me to declare this. Then JavaScript execution engine will say, okay, then declare it right now. So a scope manager will declare at that time, and it will assign there where in global scope. So it is available right now. So if you will print now, you will get what value, num as 7, magic 1 as like here 7, 10, 30, 40, and 30. Okay. Are you getting all these things or not?
Yeah.
Now, see, 7, 10, 30, 40, 30. But how to stop these things? Because this is not good. No, if you have not declared something by mistake, you are supposed to write num here. Like here we have initial value as 7, but later based on your requirement, you are changing that global value from here. You are supposed to write num, but instead of that, you have written what? Num2. So automatically it will declare, isn't it? So just to avoid that thing, we have one thing here that we have already seen once, that is use strict. Okay. Use strict. And if you will use this one, it won't allow you to declare this one. It will print first what? 7. It will call magic function. Here it will see go num is equal to 10. It will print value of that num 10. And when you will try to assign this one, num2 is equal to 30, you will get here num2 is not defined again. How you can assign some value in it? Okay, so by default, if you are writing a normal code, use strict will be not enabled. Explicitly you have to write that. Okay, But if you are using any like transpilers or any ECMAScript class, means JavaScript class, if you will use, or if you will write a like module, then in those things, you don't have to write use strict explicitly. This will be enabled in that. Okay. But here, to just avoid that or to stop that automatically global variable declaration, you need to use what? Use strict. This is also very important question for interview. Okay. How to stop global execution, sorry, global variable declaration? Then you can say by using this, we can stop. Okay. Now it is not letting you to automatically declare at runtime. Okay. Is that clear? Everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So automatically variable also it can declare if you are not using use strict in normal code. But if you are using any module, that we will see later after objects and modular JavaScript, we will see in that automatically it will be enabled. Use strict will be enabled. So here you have to write explicitly. Okay. So it is not letting you to declare at runtime in global scope any variable. Fine. Now the second thing is here, nested scope. We have seen yesterday that scope chain, how it will work. First, if you are like inside the nested function, if you are willing to print something and it is not available in that scope, where it will come? One level up. There it will check. If it is not there, it will come again one level up, one level up. Finally, it will reach to the global scope. If it is not there, it will give you what? Reference error. If it is present, wherever it will find that value, it will print. Okay. So child can inherit any property or any value from the parent, but parent cannot access the local variable or local property or whatever it is from the child to parent. Parent to child is possible. Okay, top to bottom it is possible, but bottom to top is not possible. That you need to remember. Is that clear? Scope wise, we have seen visually also how it will look like, how creation phase works, how execution phase works. That also we have seen. Still, if you have any question, you can ask till here.
Suppose in magic 1 we declare a magic 2 function.
Okay.
Okay. Inside that in magic 1 I declare num3 equal to 30 40 and
Okay, do one thing. Do one thing.
yeah,
Tell me here. I will type and then I can
yeah.
tell you here.
Make a function inside this magic 1,
Okay, fine. What function you want me to declare here?
magic 2.
Okay, magic 2 here.
Okay, yeah. And console.log num3
Console.log.
num3, and I declare that num3 in magic 1, like where num3 equal to 40 here.
Okay, here you want me to declare
Yeah,
where num3 is equal to
equal to 40.
40. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. In this case, what happened?
In this case, oh hey, what I have written here. Let me do one second. In this case, nothing will happen until and unless you are not going to call this function. You want me to call this one?
Suppose we call here like IIFE function.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
Immediate invoke function. Yeah.
yeah. So outside thing you can access inside. Outside thing you can. So let's say here I'm going to call this one magic 2 instead of that, because we have declared, so we need to call that one. Okay.
Yes.
So now if you will call this magic 2, at that time here we have num3, and inside magic 2 we do have num3 or not? No. So it will come outside and it will check whether we have num3 declaration or not. It will find here where inside magic 1 function it is declared, so it will be able to use that variable. So it will print 40. You want me to check that?
No, every
Oh,
time
means
it's call its parent means.
Yeah, means it will not actually, it will call parent. See, when you are calling magic 1, no, and inside magic 1 only we have magic 2, isn't it? So until and unless this function is not going to complete or like completely executed, it will be on hold.
Yeah.
That we have
That is
seen
also
yesterday in call stack. It was waiting for that because this magic 2 function is also part of what?
magic 1.
Magic 1. Once it is done, if it is removed from here, then only control will go back to the next thing. If it is nothing there, then only it will be removed from the call stack. So in this case, it is going to print 40. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you got the answer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if I'll save here, you will get that one.
Sir, in any case, global can access the local, but local cannot access the global, right?
Local can access the global one, but global cannot access the, because global
Local.
is a parent, no? So always remember, see, parent cannot access the child scope, whatever is there, no, that cannot access, but child can access its own parent or its own grandparent. Okay, grandparent
Yeah.
scope variable. If you have two siblings, like here we have magic 2 and we have magic 3 just next to it, so you won't be able to access that one directly. Okay, is that clear? So siblings, if you have
Yeah.
two siblings, you cannot share that property with that other function. But if you have a function here like this one, magic 2 and magic 1, so magic 1 in this case is the parent of magic 2. So magic 2 can access anything which is declared inside magic 1. Okay. Clear? Everything is clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now one more thing I'm going to show you here. Sometimes what happens, you know, let's say here we have a script 1. If you will be working with like the huge project or even a smaller project, you might have like 2 script files or 3 script files, 3 JavaScript files, something. So in that case, let's say here you have a script. Okay, I'm going to create another one. Let's script 1.js. Okay, fine. So as you have linked this one inside the index.html, so you need to add that one as well. Okay, so here I'm going to add, instead of that, simply I'll write this one, a script source, and which file we need to add? The new one. Okay, 2 files I have added. So a script is also there and a script 1. So we have so many codes are there, so many lines are there, but all those lines are commented right now. So I'm going to do one thing here. I'm going to write simply console, console dot log here hello. Okay, from script js. Okay, script.js, and here I'm going to write hello from script 1.js. So what do you think the output will be? Anyone? See here, I'm going to show you. First we have a script JS, then we have a script 1.js. Here you can see the message, hello from a script JS, hello from a script 1.js. What will be the output if I'll save?
Script JS first call, after that script 1 call.
Sorry.
Script script.js first call.
Okay,
Hello from script.js. After that, hello from script1.js.
why so?
Uh, Actually, inside that HTML part, we declare script below that.
Yeah, so order matters actually, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
So if I'll write here a script one, right now see hello from a script and then hello from a script one. So now if I'll change the order here, the output will be
Spelling mistake, sir.
a script.
29.
Okay. Where is that?
First, 26 also you have to change. It's not T.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. Let me add it from there only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the output will be here. If you will see in console, first one is what? A script one, and then a script JS. So always remember, if you have any dependency for this file, okay, if you are using something in this file which is inside a script one, so first you need to load what? That a script one, then only you need to load that file where you are working. So same, if you remember, as I have asked you, like if you are writing your custom CSS file, that should be at the bottom. And if you have any dependency for that file, that which you are using in your that custom CSS file, then the first thing should be like the library or whatever you are using, that should come first. And at the end, you need to write your script or your style file, isn't it? The same thing here also you need to do. So I'm going to just change one thing here, the name script. Okay, and we'll change here as well, script, save it. Okay, so that you need to remember. Okay, fine. So here we have two different files. Okay, I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to write var x is equal to 20. Okay, console.log. Okay, console.log. Here we have, let's say, x value. So where we have written this one inside a script, I'm going to copy this. We'll paste it here, and here value I'm going to put it as 50. What will be the output now? Check here order first. A script one is loading first, then a script. What will be the output?
First 50, next
Okay,
20.
is that correct? Anyone can correct that one. If it is correct, then tell me it is correct. Otherwise, if you'll get some error or what, something else, then you can tell me. Because we are loading both of those two scripts in the same file, and we have the same name. You will get error or what?
So can you show once again that index.html?
Yeah, here we have first a script one, then a script. So in a script one, we have x is equal to 50, and a script here we have x is equal to 20.
Yeah, it is 50 and 20.
50 and
20.
50 and 20. Okay. Is correct? Fine. I'm going to create here a script 2.js. Okay. Now, what will be the output? First script 1, script 2. Last here we have this one console.logx. First script 1, that is 50. Then you said 20. And we have here at the end console.logx. What will be the output?
50, 20, 20.
Yeah, 50, 20, 20.
Exactly. Are you able to get that one, the last one?
Variable not declared.
X is not defined
Yeah.
here. And we are adding this one here. If you will see, I will save this one. I'll save this one. Now 50, 20, 20. Okay. So have you observed one thing, even though we have a different files here? Okay. We have declared here X. We have declared here X. We have not declared here X, but still it is able to access Y. Because we are adding all the single page. Okay. In single page we are adding, so all those JavaScript files will be stacked on top of it. So first one will be first, second one will be second, like that. Okay, as per this order. So here you can observe, like, you have written this file. This one has written by someone else, and this one has written by like someone else in your team, and they have declared everything here. See, you are also declared here the variable called X. Someone else also declared variable called X, and here you are trying to access something like this. So don't you think here we have like the name conflict? Your program may break, or name collision kind of thing. Intentionally you have not used this one, but if you are working in a team and if you are trying to use some function, or you are creating your own function which is already there, and you are trying to declare with the same name, then what will happen? The first one will be replaced, isn't it? If you have a function called add in file 1, and in file 2 you are writing again function called add, so file 1 will be overridden by the second file, isn't it? With the same name if you will use. So to avoid that, what you can do is, is there any way that you can use here? Here now if I'll type X is 20 because that is updated. And if you will check the window object, so inside window, one sec, sorry. See here, X is equal to what? We have 20, not 50. So it is updating each and every time when you are loading from different files. Okay, So here you can say this is kind of like your data is leaked, that is attached to what? The global object. Anyone can access with that one. So what you can do to avoid this here you can use, let's say, let it be like this. Here you can use this one as, if you remember, function. I'll use this one. The function expression. What type of immediately invoked function expression I can use here? Okay. So if you will use this, no, I'm going to save this one. And now here also I'm going to save. So last one is, you can see when I have wrapped this one, x is equal to 20, and it is the second file. So from here, this file is not able to access the x value. So from where it is taking? From the first file where we have x is equal to 50. Now I'm going to do the same thing. X is equal to 50. I'm going to wrap this one also inside immediately invoked function expression. So the last file will not be able to access that x, because inside window object, inside global object, that is not attached. If you will see here after this w, we do not have x. Okay. So it means by using immediately invoked function expression, just you can avoid that name collision. Even though if you're working on the different file, you are using the same function name or the same variable name, there's no problem with that. So you can use this. Now, I think someone asked on that day when we can use this one. So the first thing is, like, this is an anonymous function expression, like immediately invoked function expression, which you can execute only once automatically. And the second thing, you can avoid the name collision. Okay, so that's why I have not explained at the time where you can use. Now you know the scope, and if you're working with the different files, so for this file, whatever the members you have here, that you can use here, and that will not leak outside, that will be not attached to the other files. Okay, so you can use like this, the multiple functions you can write. Whatever you are writing inside this IIFE function, you can write that one. Okay, is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can use IIFE for this one, these things. Now we were inside a script, no? So I'm going to comment this one. We'll continue with this. So we are done with the function scope, global scope. I'm going to show you the local scope. Here, if I'm writing if, let's say here I'm writing simply if, we'll do one thing. I'm going to write a function demo, okay, where x is equal to 10. Console dot log. Here I'm going to print x. I'm going to call demo, and after this I'm going to call this console.log x. What will be the output? Simply it is going to print, first it will call here this function, okay, and when it will come inside this one, it will print console.log x. What is the value of x right now? 10. And now it will come here. When it will try to print this x, what will happen? What will happen, guys?
Error, sir. Because
That is not available in that scope, isn't
available.
it?
Yes, yes, sir.
So first it will print what? 10, and then reference error, x is not defined. So you are not able to access the inside member of this function, isn't it? So this is the local scope for this function. Okay. Now The same thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, we'll comment this one. Here you have if, simply I'm writing 2 double equal to 2, or instead of this you can write simply true. If you will write true, it will go inside or not. Now what will be the output? If true means true is true, directly it will go inside. It will check here the expression declaration, it will print this one, and it will come outside this scope. How about this one now? If is not a function, if is one statement, isn't it? So it will print both. So here, as you can see, whenever you have a block, because this is not a function, if you will declare like this, where x is equal to 10, you will be able to access this one outside of this block also. So this is not a block scope thing. Still it is going inside the global scope only. So this declaration is not happening actually inside this scope. This is happening inside what? Global scope only. So that you can see here visually. Control C, and here I'm going to show you this one. If you will see here that X is declared where? The color C here, no? Where it is? In global.
Global.
Yeah, so it is declaring in global only, not inside this block. Okay. So whenever you have a block and you are declaring any variable with what? What? Var. So at that time, it is going to declare in global scope only. If you will declare inside function, that will be local for that particular function. But if you are inside a block, like if a statement or for loop, so that is also kind of block. And if you are inside a while loop, so that is also kind of block. Okay. So then it will be inside global scope only, not inside what?
Local.
In local scope. So if you want a local scope concept, what you have to do is, instead of this, they have introduced, you can declare a variable with what? Let. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this one. We'll paste it here. What is the color of this X?
Local scope.
Local scope only, isn't it? So it is not outside the. Here it is showing that in global scope if you're declaring with this one, but you cannot do this. That I'm going to show you. Is that clear? Now if I'll save this one, so here you are getting what? 10 for this one. And now you are not able to access this one outside this block, because you have declared this one with let. And if you are declaring any variable or any function expression with this let, it is not going to act, it is not will be visible outside the scope. In which scope it is? Right now in local scope. If it will be available inside the global scope, you will be able to access. So right now I'm going to show you one thing here. If you will remove this, no, and will save, you will get error. What error? Uncaught syntax error, that X has been already declared. How you are how it will allow you to again declare with the same name. So here if you are using let, always see, just one thing. If I'll use var, no, again you have declared var x is equal to 10, again you are going to declare var x is equal to 50 or 40, it won't give you any error. Okay, it will update simply. Here it will say, okay, this is declared, so it will ignore. Yeah, so declaration I'm going to skip because it is already declared, and I'm going to update that value also. So this is not good, isn't it? Instantly means it is going to override something, it is going to update something else. So just to avoid that, always use let. If it is required, you use where, otherwise use let only. So if you'll use let, it will give you one error, like at least it will show you this error, so you will be able to understand, hey, already some identifier is already declared, so I'm not supposed to use this name, I need to use something else, isn't it? So, and one more thing here, see, you're not able to access this one outside this scope. Now this is a block scope, it has created a scope. So this is known as like block scope. We have already seen the function scope and global scope. Okay, so because we have declared this one here twice, it is giving you error. If you'll comment the first one, you will get first 40 inside this if, and after this outside if you're not able to access because this is wrapped inside this block. So this is local for this block only. You're not able to access this outside. So first thing here you can do is like you can declare with let. So let, if you're declaring with let, you can declare it, and later if you will try to again redeclare, it won't allow you with the same name. If you are declaring, it will give you an error that X has been already declared. So first thing means you cannot redeclare, but if you want to reassign that one, like here I'm giving help, you can do that. So now you know the basic difference between var and let. And one more thing, you know what is there, that I will show you later, like when I will explain you about the difference between var, let and const. But here always remember, whenever you are declaring any variable or any function expression with the let, it will be the block scope thing. If you are directly outside of each and every scope, right, directly you are in global scope, that will be inside the global scope. Okay, and now here I'm going to declare it, let X is equal to 100. Now you will be able to access here. So inside if we have variable called X, and outside this if we have variable called X. Still here you can see the name is same, but the scope is different. This is inside global scope, this is inside local scope, and here the X value you can see initially is 40, later you are updating, then printing, and here you have the X value in global scope is 100, so that's why you are getting 100. So you can check here also in a scope visualizer, this one, see. So this is in global scope, this is also in global scope, and here we have, this one is the local scope X, the background color you can see. Okay, so whenever you are using let, it will be the local scope thing. It will create a block scope if you are inside a block. Another thing you can use here apart from this, instead of let, okay, that is const. Okay, if you want to declare any constant variable, you can use const. Still the result is same, and if you will try to access this one outside, you won't be able to access because const also create a block scope. Okay, one more thing, here we have 40. Now if you will try to redeclare with the same name, like const again X, you will get the same type of error which we were getting for the let. Syntax error, identifier X has already been declared. So that you have seen that redeclaration is not possible with const also. Now I'm going to assign it value called, let's say here we have 40. Now I'm going to assign this one as X is equal to 50. So constant can we change? Anyone? The name itself is saying constant, so you will get here error that assignment to constant variable is not possible. Okay, so you are getting type error. So when I was explaining about that type error means JavaScript errors, at the time I have already explained about these things, like when something is available and you are trying to perform some illegal operation on that, then you will get what? Type error. So here X is there. Okay, X is there, it is declared, but you are trying to perform illegal operation. That constant value you are trying to reassign, or you are trying to change this one. So that's why you are getting this error. But there is some other scenarios that I will show you when to change and what is happening actually here, what type of value you can change, it is mutable or not, that we will see. Like total 9 differences or 8 differences we are going to see, like when we will compare the var, let and const. But always remember, whenever you are declaring like multiple variable with the same name by using var keyword, it will allow you, but it will replace the existing values. The last one will be the updated value in the same scope. I'm saying same scope. But if you will try to redeclare any variable with the let keyword or const keyword, it won't allow you to declare that one. If you want to reassign something, then you can use let. Okay, it will allow you to reassign your value. Okay, but const, if you are using, you won't be able to reassign something. That you need to remember, and it is also going to create a local scope. If you will try to access this one, say here X, you're not able to access that. See here, because here also I need to comment because I'm trying to reassign. So inside you are getting X value as 40 and outside you are getting X value as 100. So we have two different scope, two different variables and two different
So
values.
what's the difference between let and const?
Let and const, both of, that's what I said. Like here we are not comparing these two things, but see, whenever you are going to create any variable by using let or const keyword, it is going to create block scope, that is same. But if you are creating any variable by using let, you can reassign, but you cannot reassign with the const keyword if you are declaring something. Okay,
Means
the
if I declare const outside, so it's we can
const
use it.
const, yeah, you can use that one in that way. Like here, see, if you have const X in the same scope, you cannot declare twice, no? And here you are not declaring this one, and inside this you are trying to access, that is possible. I'm not saying that it is not possible, it is possible, but in the same scope you cannot.
No, I said one const we declare in that block and
Hmm,
one is outside the block. So
you can.
like we can use
Here you have 80, const X is equal to 80, and here we have const X is equal to 40. So if const is creating a scope, so where it will see first, in local scope or outer? Local only, no? So here in
yeah.
this scope, we have 80. So here inside you will get 80 and outside you will get 40.
Means I only understand that const and local is a block scope thing, and
Hmm.
I didn't understand the difference between them, let and const. Like
Let and const, you didn't understand?
means I understand, but the difference between that two in comparing purpose. Means I understand their work, but in like comparison.
Comparison means, these two things are creating block scope. That is clear.
Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah. So let and const, I'm saying, see, simply if you are declaring a variable, I'm going to comment all these things for now. Let it be like that. Here I'm going to comment. Okay, here we have let X is equal to 100. Fine. And I'm just going to print this value. This one also I'm going to comment. This one also I'm going to comment. Okay, so here we are getting what? 100. Fine. Right now we are in global scope, so we cannot do anything here. It is inside global scope. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reassign that value which we have initialized first with something else. Let's say 30 letter. What will be the output now?
30.
30. So here you have a possibility that whenever you are declaring something, okay, in your program, and later if you want to update, let's say initially the score of any player, okay, the score of any player is 0 initially, and later if he is playing, you need to update that one, no, isn't it? So now initially it was 0, now you are going to add in that 6. You are able to reassign, you are able to change the value of that. X is not defined. Okay, sorry. A score I need to update, no. And here also I need to print a score. So here, if you will see, you are getting 6. And when you have declared it, at that time, it was what? That also see. Initially it was 0. Later, when you have updated, the value is 6. So first thing, don't
Okay,
think of
means these things we can't do with const, right?
const. The name itself is saying that constant value when you want to declare, then only go with that const thing. Now
Yeah,
I'm going to
got it.
show you same thing with the const. If you will declare this score with const, okay. So initially you are saying that a score is 0, okay. A score is 0, and later you are saying no, change the score to 6. Is that constant? No. Constant means never ever you have to change that value, okay. So here you cannot do that one. Initially the value is 0. Later when you will try to reassign or update that value is not possible. Okay. That we will see when we will use objects, no. So the property value we can change, but we cannot reassign. That difference we will see. But for now, I'm saying the reassignment is not possible for the const variables. You have here 0, and later if you will say score is equal to something else, that is not possible. So in which case you can use, let's say you have pi, and pi value will always remain same. Never ever it is going to change. At that time you can use const. Okay, because you are not going to change it. If someone will try to change also that, no, I'm going to change it to 43, it will give you error. Assignment to constant variable is not possible. Okay, in that scenario you can use this const. So this is the basic difference. Okay, now after this, now we know the global scope, function scope, and local scope. Okay, now we are going to learn about the hosting and shadowing. Have you ever heard of this? Hosting in JavaScript? Anyone? No? Okay, fine. I'm writing here magic 1. Okay. If I'll try to call this one, what will happen? Anyone?
It's throw error.
It will throw error because the definition of that function is not available in this code, no? You will get reference error. Magic 1 is not defined. Simple. Now I'm going to write function. Okay. And I'm going to write here magic 1. Console.log. Hi. What will be the output now? Anyone? Okay, fine. What will be the output now? Are you guys able
It
to hear me?
will, yeah,
Yeah, it will.
it will give high.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, fine. Now if I'll try to call here.
Hi.
Hi. Sure. It will
No,
give you.
no, it will give error now.
Why?
Like we will invoke first, then it is we declare now. Means then we write this expression.
Yeah, that is our mentor model. That should work like that, but it is giving me a still high. How? Before its declaration, I'm trying to call this one and how it is working. So there actually the concept comes for the hosting. Hosting means always declaration will move to top of its current scope wherever it is declared to its lexical scope. Okay. So actually what is happening, you are writing like this, but JavaScript engine is assuming that this code is like this. Okay. Means this declaration is moving to yeah. So what I was saying is always JavaScript engine move that declaration on top of that current scope where you have declared your function or variable. So that is actually known as what? Hoisting. So this is a kind of metaphor. Not exactly it is going to move on top. If you are aware of that creation phase and execution phase, you will be able to understand what is happening actually. Okay. So here you have declared here. Actual code is like this. Okay. Not this one. Actual code is like this. First magic call and then your declaration. But what JavaScript engine is doing, it is moving your declaration internally like this. So the declaration is going on top and now you are able to call this one. So that's why you are getting here high. But how it is happening actually? Okay, that we will see. Now I'm going to show you here something like console.log. Okay, x, where x is equal to 10. Console.log x. What will be the output? If you have like seen here what I said just now, the declaration will move on top of the current, or you can say the lexical scope. What will move? Declaration. So what will be the output?
10 and 10.
10 and 10. Anyone else?
Same sir, 10, 10.
You will get undefined and then 10. So what is happening? Just now I said declaration will move on top. So don't think that JavaScript engine is assuming this one as a single line. What it is thinking here, it is like var x, and then x is equal to 10. Okay, I'm going to comment this one. So I said what? It will move on top of it. Top of its what? Current scope. So declaration is moving on top, but your assignment will be there itself where you have declared it. So at the first time you have declared it as what? var x. Assume that one if declaration is moving on top. So at that time, if we'll try to access x, what will be the value? If you remember, if you are going to declare something, and at that time, if it is not initialized, the default value will be
Undefined.
undefined. So that's why you are getting here what? Undefined. And later you are saying, hey, whatever variable I have declared, no, in that assign value 10 now. So that will be updated to what? 10. So now if you will try to print that x, it will be what? 10. So always remember in hosting, you know, flag hosting, we all know that one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the kind of that only here, the same concept is here, but what is happening here, always host what? Declaration, whatever declaration is there now, that will host on top of the current scope. Fine. Now, that's why you are getting this output. If you remember, if you're not understanding like this, you can think in another way. Same code I'm going to write here. Where x is equal to 10. Okay. Where x is equal to 10. And what? I have written over there like this. It's so simple. If you are clear with that creation phase, no, it's so simple. Tell me here, if you have to just think in that way, like the creation phase and the execution phase, what you will do first? In the creation phase, first, what you are going to do? Tell me. You have to check the declaration, isn't it? So you will declare here first var x. You will get one declaration, isn't it? Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So in creation phase, compiler will say, I got a formal declaration called X. Please check whether it is defined or not. It will say it is declared or not. The scope manager will say, no, it is not declared in this scope. So declare it. Fine. Is there any other declaration in these 3 lines?
No.
No. Okay. So we'll go for the next phase. What is that? What is that? Execution phase. So when we will come to the execution phase, the first line will be what? Console.log x. So now it is saying, hey, I have to print the value of x, check whether it is declared or not. It will say, yeah, it is declared, but there's no value in it. So no value in it means what? It will give me what?
Undefined.
Undefined. Okay. This line is done. Now it will come here, next assignment. JavaScript engine will ask again to whom? Scope manager. Hey, scope manager, I need to assign a value in variable called x. Have you heard of this? It will say, yeah, it is there. It is declared. Then assign value 10 in it. So it is going to assign simply a 10. Okay. Now where the control will go next? here console.log x. At that time, if you try to execute console.log x, what is the value right now? What is the value right now? It will check x, it is available, and value is what? 10. So it is going to print 10. First time undefined, after assignment, it will be 10. Is that clear, or you want me to explain this one again?
No, so good.
So if you are aware of that, creation phase and execution phase, easily you can understand this hoisting. Hoisting means always, if someone is asking, literally actually JavaScript engine is not going to hoist on top. What is happening, you know, here? If you remember that creation phase and execution phase, first it will check declaration. It will declare at the time of compilation. That is known as lexical scope. And after that, at the time of execution, it is going to use that scope. That's it. Isn't it? So this is all about hosting. We will see in more detail this one hosting tomorrow.